Hello, ladies, and welcome into today's video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how your purpose, brace yourself for this one, brace yourself for this one, how not following through on your purpose and what you are here for can be sabotaging your relationships and sabotaging other areas of your life, whether that is money, whether that is health, whether it is with your partner, whether it is in other areas of your life with your relationships, this may be what is sabotaging your life. And it's interesting because oftentimes you will hear, even from me, about self-sabotage of a part of you, a human part of you that is usually unconscious, that is sabotaging your efforts. But in this instance, this is actually your soul sabotaging you, sabotaging your relationships, sabotaging your health, causing illnesses, causing something dramatic to happen in your life so that you can actually finally wake up to your life's purpose. Because what we are taught is that we follow a linear path. We take this cookie cutter path. And if we actually follow that, then we'll have the money, we'll have the relationship, and everything will be fine. But when we follow this cookie cutter plan that wasn't our soul's purpose, wasn't what our soul came here to experience and what it came here to do, this is when you start to experience self-sabotage in the form of illnesses, in the form of constantly fighting with your partner, in the form of going broke and going bankrupt. This is your soul literally pinging you, calling you out, and saying, wake up. And I know this can be really hard to hear. So I'm sorry if I didn't hold your hand through this, but this is what is happening. And I've seen this play out in my own life where when I would show up, let's say I didn't even show up and I followed through on creating a YouTube video, which I love to do. I love talking about these topics. I love showing up for you ladies, and I love creating this content and having these types of conversations. And in that process, there is something happening in me. There is something changing in me. My capacity is expanding. Who I am is changing throughout this process of sharing with you, of showing up here, doing these difficult things that can feel scary, putting myself out there and allowing myself to be seen, editing YouTube videos, learning YouTube, changing, like all of these things change who you are as a person and alter your capacity. And so when we play it safe, when we follow that cookie cutter plan, because we want to stay safe, we want to have certainty, we want to know for sure that this has a guaranteed return on our investment. We then just take that path, and no shame if you've taken that path, but it'll most likely end up in a place where your soul then starts to sabotage you so you can finally wake up and start following your intuition and the signals that it is sending you and the path that it wants you to lay out. And the thing is that is so scary about this path versus the cookie cutter path where you're following a linear outline and you're taking all these steps in order is that when you're following your intuition gives you the steps one step at a time. No, I think no more than three steps. I've never really known the full way when I'm following my intuition. But this is where we learn to let go of control, especially if you're here and you're an oldest daughter. If you're a type A person, this is where your inner work lies in releasing control and having faith, in allowing yourself to believe in a vision, in allowing yourself to believe in yourself and your capabilities and to continue to show up, even if it doesn't make sense, even if the message that your intuition is sending you, the next step for you, you're like, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense. Oh no, that's like too scary. In those moments, that is when your capacity expands because you're allowing yourself to step one step out of your comfort zone. And I think this is so intelligent because if you were given the full picture of what you were put on this earth to do, you would most likely run away from that. You would most likely be like, okay, no, that feels like too much for this version of you. This is what I've come to realize that when I think about the future, and this goes, oh my God, for fearful avoidance, this shows up so hard in this area that when you think about the future and the expectations that are coming and the things that you will have to learn to hold and how you will need to show up differently, that can scare the current version of you because she hasn't held that before. She hasn't experienced that before, which makes sense, right? And I think that's why it is so intelligent because you are given one step at a time because God is preparing you in every step that you take. You are being prepared in the process to hold more, to be able to handle a certain amount of stress, to be able to hold a certain amount of expectations and not crumble and collapse. But if you knew the entire path, because it's not going to be this tiny thing, 5 year plan, 10-year plan. God has so much more in store for you. And your soul is leading you towards that, is leading you through that. And if you were given the full picture, you would probably, the human part of you would probably be like, hell no, I'm not going anywhere near that. We're going to stay with this 5 year plan. And this is where we're safe. And this is where learning to let go of control in everyday situations comes in. And I think going back to the point about uncertainty, it's so funny because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, that so much of the movies, my fiance and I were talking about this, so much of the movies that are showing up, we're like, where are the good movies? Like, nobody's creating any good movies. And so many of the movies are sequels to something that was like 10 years ago. And don't get me wrong, I love some of them because I'm like, yay, I get to watch this again and I get to see these characters again. But I think it's so interesting that because what they create is based on something that is happening in society, and it is a reflection of where we're at as a society. And I think people have become so used to and comfortable with needing that certainty. I mean, humans have always wanted certainty, but I feel like it has amplified to a new level where we literally cannot watch a movie unless we know it is amazing. Also, notice when you're watching a trailer now, trailers used to be this mysterious thing that give you like highlights and glimpses of what the movie is going to be like, literally like your intuition, little snippets, little highlights, but they have now turned into showing you almost the entire movie. My mother-in-law will literally refuse to watch trailers because she's like, they're giving away the entire movie in the trailer. Then where is the mystery? Where is the fun in that? When you're just living in a constant state of certainty that you cannot even watch a movie unless it's guaranteed to be good. And I have to say, I was guilty of this where I needed to know something was going to be good before I stepped into it, before I watched it. And my time is valuable, so that is also valid. But what I also started to learn is that there really are no guarantees in life, but we are made to believe that if we follow a cookie cutter plan or a 10-year plan or 5 year plan, that everything will just go according to plan and nothing will ever go wrong and we'll never be in pain and we'll never experience hardship and all of that. But that is not true. You're either choosing the hard life of following through on a certain plan that feels so unsatisfying and feels so unfulfilling, or you're choosing the hard of growing every day, being in a place that feels uncomfortable, doing new things, your identity constantly changing and evolving. And in that, even though that's the scary part of it, you are feeling more fulfilled. You're feeling more satisfied because your soul literally lights up and it literally generates more energy through you because you are doing what you are designed to do, what you are here to do. And oftentimes, what I'll notice is that when I don't show up and I don't create, even though my intention was to create for that day, even if I show up and create a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked to, a part of me feels so unsatisfied. And maybe this is the generator in me, because in my human design, I'm a generator, and I feel the most fulfilled when I show up and do things that excite me, when I create. And when I do not create, I literally feel so unfulfilled. I feel so unsatisfied. And it oftentimes keeps me up at night or leads to self-sabotage in my relationships. But when I show up and I create, then I actually have so much more energy. Then I have so much more energy to show up with presence in my relationships because I showed up and did something that my soul just lit up from. I'm not neglecting certain areas of my life to focus in all of my energy in one area of life. And if you're watching this and thinking, okay, but I have no idea what my purpose is. This is something I struggled with for the longest time. I literally was so obsessed with it because I went through school and then I feel like it's so wrong that we expect people to know what they want to do for the rest of their life, that is like you have to have it figured out at 18. Makes no sense whatsoever. It makes so much more sense to get curious and explore subjects that interest you, not to have a entire plan laid out. And it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and I'm going to decide that at 18 and go study it. What happened to exploring? What happened to curiosity? Because everybody likes to pretend that they have the answers, that they figured it out, and that, like, okay, now that I have this plan and I'm gonna follow through on it and everything is gonna be fine, I'm never gonna experience anything wrong, and I have all the money that I need, but you end up feeling unfulfilled because did you even choose something that your soul wanted, or did you just choose it because your parents wanted you to choose that thing? Did you just choose it because of peer pressure? Did you just choose it because it looks good on paper or it looks good when you talk about it in front of other people? And I know education is so expensive, and I really want to say and emphasize, because I struggled with this myself, that education doesn't only come in the form of going to college and getting like a specific degree. And I want to encourage you, even in college, to explore, to really go into topics that actually interest you if you're in that phase. Because what good does it do? I know it feels so hard in the moment because you're still young if you're in that stage and you want to please your parents and you want to have that guarantee. But following your intuition, following the breadcrumbs that God is sending you, that is going to take you so much farther because it is a part of a bigger plan. It is not just, okay, I'm going to take this step, and even though it doesn't make sense, nothing is going to come out of it. It's always leading to something. This is what I've learned, that it's always leading me to something. I don't know what. I don't have the answer. I definitely have not figured anything out, aside from the fact that my purpose is to figure it out. Literally. Like my my purpose here is to listen to my intuition and take the next step. And in taking the next step, I figure it out. Giving you an example of this, showing up here on YouTube and posting my first video, I had the desire to post that video, but I had no idea what would come out of it. I had no idea the specific topic that I would be talking about. I just knew I wanted to help women, that I had gone through hardships and I wanted to now start sharing with women what I learned. And most of the time, your purpose is tied to your hardships, the obstacles that you've overcome, the things that you have healed. Notice I'm sharing about fearful avoidant attachment and now even expanding on that as I continue to grow and evolve. And so I want you to get this idea out of your head that you have to have it all figured out, and that once, like, society has it so backwards that when you finally have everything figured out, you've chat GPT'd everything, you have all the answers, you have all the strategies, and now, okay, it's everything is figured out, and now it's gonna finally all work together. But that's not how it works because you cannot predict every single thing that will unfold. And you are limiting your opportunity. You are limiting yourself when you show up in this way, trying to control every single aspect. But when you show up and you say, I don't have all the answers, this is the desire I have, this is not a problem, this is a desire that I have. How can I show up to fulfill that desire? How can I show up? What can I do now to fulfill this desire? Okay, I want to create a YouTube video and I want to help women. What can I start with? If a 20-minute video or 30-minute video feels like too much, I will film a 1 to 5 minute video. Literally, I am all about breaking it down into baby steps. I got to this point, which is to a lot of people doesn't seem like a lot, but it took so much inner work even to get to this point. But taking steps and learning as you go is what is going to compound everything that you are learning. And it is expanding your capacity in the process. It is expanding what you're able to hold. It is expanding holding space for other people. It is expanding on your skills because you don't learn the skills by just knowing them mentally. So much of it is learned in the body. And as you show up and do the thing, take the steps that your intuition is sending you, that is when your capacity is actually expanding and you're bringing your nervous system along with you. Because then it has experience with that thing, it doesn't have to fear it anymore. Like editing YouTube videos used to take me so long, and I could have given up at that step. But I continued to show up and just practice and explore it and approach it with curiosity, and I didn't make it complicated for myself. There are other people out there that add a lot of B-roll, that add a lot of edits. For me, that is not something I wanted to learn. But for them, that's amazing if that is a skill that you want to learn. For them, if that is a skill that they're like, okay, this is like so exciting. This is a skill I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it through creating YouTube videos, and then I'm going to edit them and learn this skill because it excites me. That skill did not excite me. So I showed up and I made it easy for myself. And I took like literally every single step of the way, I made it easier for myself to show up. Do I have it figured out? Do I have the answers? No, I'm still learning as I go. And editing now takes me so much less time and it feels so much easier because my nervous system was expanding every single time I showed up and I edited. Every time I showed up and I filmed a video. Filming a video, the first video I ever filmed was so freaking hard, but did I give up? No. I continued to show up. I continued to make it easy for myself. Did I let the obstacles of, oh, but like it doesn't look like other people's videos, but it doesn't have B-roll, but it doesn't have this and it doesn't have that. Does it have to have that? No. We get to make our own rules. You get to make your own rules. Make it so freaking easy for yourself to show up in whatever thing you need to do, in whatever your soul is calling you to do, in whatever desire that is on your heart. And I have to say that I showed up and I explored so many different areas before I even landed on this. I knew I wanted to help women and I knew I wanted to go into coaching. And actually, I'm gonna admit this year that I went into coaching earlier on and then convinced myself out of it that I don't know enough, that I need to live my entire life first before I can start coaching other women. But that was just a part of me that was trying to keep me safe. And maybe you have parts of yourself like that too that are trying to keep you safe in the process, that are trying to keep you from going into what is perceived as dangerous because it is unfamiliar. I had things that I had healed that I could have shared with women at the time, but there was a voice inside my head telling me, No, you need to live out your entire life first before you can even become a coach. You cannot be young and sharing this kind of information. You cannot be young because people will not listen to what you have to say. But who's making up all these rules? We are the creators of our own life and we get to make the rules. I've literally invested thousands of dollars in my inner work. I am in so many containers where I'm always learning and growing and evolving. Who says that I cannot show up and teach other women what I am learning? Who says that? So if there are voices that are coming up like that, I want you to question them. And if there is any validity to it, go and get the education, go and become certified in the thing. Because are you just going to do something that is unsatisfying and unfulfilling just because of that voice saying that you're not qualified? Or are you going to go out there and become qualified? Qualify yourself, take the certificate, get the education, go study something that excites you. Don't let these things and these voices become obstacles for you from living a fulfilled life because it is going to come up in other ways. There are so many people that I see in my life where I see them, and I don't know if this is a part of my human design. I think it is, but there are so many people that I see around me that follow this cookie cutter path. And I used to really shame myself for not being able to show up in this way and for not going along that cookie cutter path and for following my own path and for following my intuition. I really used to struggle with this and shame myself for this because I'm just going to be honest, it's a lot lonelier in following in the path that most people take. But once you find the community that are like of women that are doing that same thing, that are showing up and they want more for their lives, they want to live a happy and satisfied and fulfilled life, and they want to go to the next level and they're constantly evolving and going outside of their comfort zone, you literally start to feel so happy and so excited because you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know people like this existed. Because it's not often that we see people around us that are showing up in this way, that are living in purpose, that are living with their intuition. And if you are even listening to this video and you're like, I am afraid of my intuition, I don't know how to connect with my intuition, I don't know where to start. Can't even hear that part of me. I don't hear anything. What do I do? This is most likely because you have entered a survival state where you are now dissociated from your body. You are unable to hear what is happening in your body, and there is no shame in that. Maybe you've experienced trauma or you have a lot of trapped emotions that are putting you in this state, that are keeping you dissociated from your body. And that is okay. Or maybe you're in a fight or flight state and you're constantly in your head, constantly thinking about the next step and what steps to take and having that 5-year plan. And it's really hard for you to come back into your body, to listen to your intuition, to listen to what your body is leading you to. And this is literally the work inside Safe to Be Loved. This is the inner work that I went through to be able to get to this point where I'm able to show up and follow my intuition and be able to hear my intuition and be able to hear the next steps for me. And not only just be able to hear the next steps, but be able to follow through on them through the fear, through the discomfort, because the next steps are most likely going to be a little bit outside your comfort zone. And they may be things that you don't want to hear. And we oftentimes try to force ourselves through that. But oftentimes we can become repelled by that and resist it because our body does not feel safe in following in the next steps, in doing something that feels so scary and so outside of our comfort zone. But when you create safety in your body on a daily basis and you're continuing to show up and expand on that little bit by little bit, and you expand as you do the thing. So we're not just entering it without any tools, but we're entering it with the tools and we are doing the thing. And both in combination help us expand our capacity, help us to sit in discomfort. And now that becomes our new norm. It no longer feels so scary to show up and do that thing anymore. And even if the fear is still there, it doesn't control your actions anymore and it doesn't feel so close to you where it has a hold on you. It can be a little farther in your mind and in your body. You can still show up and do the thing and it not being so in your face. So if you are interested in that level of inner work and going deeper and creating that safety to be able to show up and do the things that your soul has been calling you to do, and you are ready to stop sabotaging other areas of your life, not on purpose, because it's either unconscious or your soul is stepping in on your behalf to do so. If you are ready to take your nervous system along with you, to take your body along with you, to do the scary thing that your soul is wanting you to do, to take the next step, to be able to access your intuition, that inner work is going to be inside, safe to be loved. And I look forward to seeing you in there if you sign up. And I was actually thinking that there's a Black Friday sale going on that is supposed to have ended yesterday, but I'm thinking of extending it for today as well. End of the day at 12 a.m., it will end. So I'm giving you one more day if this is on your heart, because I know that you didn't show up just to live a mediocre life. You didn't show up just to follow a linear path. You know you are here for more. And a part of you is going to sabotage that, continue to sabotage that if you don't bring your body along with you. The animal part of you is going to keep sabotaging that if you don't bring it along with you and show it that it is safe to do these things. So that is everything that I have for you in today's video. I want to hear any insights that you had throughout the video, any questions that came up about purpose, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video or inside Safe to Be Loved. Bye.